This video is part 2 to the P5js button class. So if you haven't done the first half, you should go back and watch that video first. Alright, so where we left off, we had all our cosmetics done. So we had this class up the top here, and we had our constructor. It has our x and y, our width and height, it's got our text, and it's got our color. We set our variables up with inside our this, which relate to our button class, and that's our constructor at the top. We then had our render function down the bottom here, where we have our color input, our rectangle, we align our text, we create our size of our text, we set the color of the text, and we actually write the text into our box. In our main sketch, we created two variables, one for color change and a menu button. Each of these needed to be set up inside the function with a new button, and then all of our 8 parameters across here. So our width, our x and y, width and height, the name of the button, the colors that we need to set for our button. The same thing has been done here for menu with a different coordinates, our different name, and our different color. Down the bottom in our draw function, we've got our background, we have our color render to display it to the screen, and our menu render. When we play this at the moment, this is what we get. We get change color here, and we get our menu here. So this video is about the functionality of getting our button to actually do something when we move our mouse across it, and when we click, so we know when we've clicked our button so that we can act upon the click event. So we're going to add some code in here, and we've got a few things to add. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a new function, and we're going to call it update. And we're going to put in our curly brackets. Now, this is where we're going to be writing some if statements to make some decisions. But before we do that, we do need to create some variables. So up at the top here in our constructor, we've got all our variables, and we're going to add in 2 more variables. This dot pressed. This will be when we know if we press the button or not. Whoops. There we go, and we're going to set that straight away to false. We don't need to set it up at the top here, because we can just define that as false. We don't want our button to be pressed when we start the program up. And the second one is inside, and I'm going to say that's when the mouse is inside the button. And Control B, just a reminder, Control B pretties up your code, makes it look all neat and tidy. So the first thing we need to do is we need to figure out when is the mouse within the button. So when we go to our menu, when do we pass into it? You can see the mouse travels into it, and we want it to change color. So we need some if statements here. We need one big old if statement. So we write if, then we're going to check a few things. So we're going to go mouse X. So we're looking left and right across. So if I draw my rectangle, first going to check to see if we are within this boundary and this boundary, which is our X, because X runs across the top, yep, across the screen. So we're going to say that mouse X has to be greater than equal to. Now, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. We want it greater than equal to this dot position X. So that's how far across. We draw a bigger square. I'm going to draw a bigger square. That's our screen. That's our button in the middle. I should probably have made that a different color, like black. There we go. That's a bit better. So that's the outside of our screen. Make it a bit better. There we go. And that's our screen. So first distance is to here, which is our X position. We need it to be greater than that, so we need to be on this side of it. Second thing we need to look at is, and we put an end statement in. It's Shift 7 on the keyboard, but it's the end symbol. And then mouse x is less than or equal to this dot pos x plus the this dot w, because that's the width of the screen. And I just figured out I'm going to run out of space. So I'm going to raise everything and get rid of that. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to put my screen over here. Boom. Beautiful. That's my screen. It's going to be my button. I'm going to go back to my pen. It's my X position. So that's that line there. And then this is the one that we're saying we want to be on that side of it. So this one we were saying we want to be on that side of it. This side we want to be saying on this side. So we're in the middle here. This is X position plus width of our button width. That's what we've written here so far. Now, we're not done yet. I'm going to put another end in, and then we're going to jump down to the next line. So we're going to go mouse Y this time. And this time, we are looking at, not change colors, looking at going down the screen to this point. So we're checking this line. And we've got this is greater than or equal to this dot position Y. And up a little bit. Remember, Control B cleans up your code. Y is less than or equal to this dot position Y plus now what's the height of the screen, and that would be this section from here to here. This is the height. So we need to deal with that. And that is this dot height. And now we can finish that off. That is all we need for our if statement. But now we just need some curly brackets. Look nice and pretty. In there, it's curly brackets from there to there. Now, if all this is true, this dot inside, saying if we're inside it, needs to be set to true. Alright, that's that bit. I might actually just put my bracket down here for the moment. Now we're going to have an else. I just move my bracket down just to make it a little bit more coherent. So you got if, this is your whole statement. You got bracket for if it's true, else this is for false. So this dot inside equal to false. Beautiful. So this is going to tell us if it's inside or outside our shape. Now, at the moment, we've just written this code into this function update. We actually haven't run this code, and this code won't execute at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our main sketch, and we're just going to do this one on the color change dot update. This will now run. So you've got the rendering it screen, and then we've got update, and we're putting the update after the render. And at the moment, yep, it runs no errors, but we can't see the change happening. When I roll over the color change one, it doesn't work because we haven't got it to do anything yet with that information. So it's getting that this is true when our mouse is going over the top, but we're not doing anything with that information. So we're going to come down here and we're going to write another if statement in our render. This dot inside. 3 equal signs in a row means equivalent to true. If it's true, we want it to do something. And else We want it to be our normal color, and that's that fill here. So I'm going to put my bracket around the fill. So that fill, I'm out making it around that last one. So this is saying, this is if it's false. This is if it's false. This one up here is going to be if it's true. So these comments. But now I'm going to say, what do we want us to do if it's true? I'm going to make it fill equal to 255. That's going to make a white background. So it's going to be really obvious when we roll over. Going to run our code. Ooh, works, no errors. And ooh, our mouse rolls into the button. Now we've got to check all the lines, make sure it works. Top one works, right hand one works, bottom works, left hand side works. So we know we're inside the button now. Yep, beautiful. This one doesn't work down here because we haven't set it up. This one does. How I know that is because we put this here, color change. We haven't done it for menu. If we wrote this in, dot update, that's what's going to happen. Our other button will work as well. Go white there, go to white there. Oh, two individual buttons working. Look at that. That looks great. That is awesome. All right. So the second part to this is knowing when we've clicked on the buttons. And we're going to have to make something happen when we click on the button. First, we've got to check to see if we've clicked on the button. And we're going back into our update function up here. So we're going to go if two statements, two things need to be true. This dot inside is equivalent to true. And the other thing is we now need to get the mouse when the mouse is clicked. And we're just going to do the basic format of it. And it's going to be, we're going to do it mouse is pressed. Now, it doesn't matter what mouse button you hit. And we're going to put some brackets in here. So if it is pressed, we're going to change our variable called this pressed. It's currently false. If this is true, so that we're inside our square and the mouse button is pressed, it doesn't matter what mouse button at the moment, then we want this to be true. This pressed equal to true. Now, what do we want if we didn't do any of that? Else, it's always good to put an else in, put our brackets in. So this pressed equal to false. Awesome. So let's run that, see if that works. Okay, we don't have any errors. We're clicking on it, and nothing's happening. I can click all the different mouse buttons, nothing's happening. But this is becoming true for just that second when the mouse is being clicked. So how are we going to prove that that's true? Well, we're going to need to do something, not in here, but just out in our main sketch. This is where we can make different things happen. So if and color change, and this is why we have to do it outside here, because I want color change to do one thing, and I want when I click the menu to do a different thing, and that's why we put it outside. Dot pressed is equivalent to true. I want something to happen. What I'm going to have happen is ellipse. I'm going to create an ellipse with divided by 2 height divided by 2, and it's going to be 100 by 100. And I reckon we're going to fill it with, you can go whatever color you like. I'm going to make it green. Sweet. So this is saying now that it's color and the variable pressed inside the color change button is true. We're going to create this fill and we're going to use an ellipse, and that's going to pop up in the middle of the screen because it's half the width, half the height, and it's going to be 100 by 100. Let's see if we can get that to work. See, we don't have any errors. All right, we roll over color change. Now when I click the green circle in the middle, now if I hold my click down, it will stay there. As soon as I take it away, it disappears. So that button now does that. That button actually has a function. It does something when you click on it. Now I'm going to say if we want to make this if statement, do something else. So menu button dot press, because it's a different button, is true. We want something to happen. And I think I want a different color. I'm going to go, I'm just going to make up a weird color here. Whoops, that's outside the range of what this number can be. Alright, I don't know what color it's going to be. It's going to be interesting. And I'm going to make a triangle appear. Now, triangles are fun ones to make. So we're going to say it's going to make it at, go width, divided by 2, height. Oops, I always do that. That's going to be the first point. Second point is going to be width by 2 minus 100, and it's going to be height by 2 plus 100, say. The last set of points is, let's go with width divided by 2 plus 100, and height, doing that, height divided by 2 minus 100. And if I've done my math correctly, big long-winded thing, but we've got a few different parts to it. So you've got x here, y here. That's the first set. That's your first point. You've got x here, y here. That's your second point. And your last point is x here, y here. That's your third point. So you should have, it's point 1, 1, 2, 3. So you got point 1. Should have point 2. And you have point 3 there. And that's what it should look like. Oop, I need to go back to my pen. Just raise that up there. Don't need a bit of a mark over my play button. Let's go. So, still got change color. Still makes a circle. Go down to menu. Haven't clicked on it yet. Click on it. And, we've made a mistake. Our triangle is not working very well. But you can see a line popping up. Probably have to fix that. I've done something. Height. I think that's meant to be a plus. Oops. Made a mistake. There we go. Change that one, and there's that triangle. It's a green triangle. It's a green circle. Ooh, I wanted to put that too high up. Let's make that 230. And it's going to be more of a blue triangle. Purple triangle. Purple triangle, I like it. Beautiful. So, what have we done in this round? So, I'm going to clear the screen just to get rid of everything. Clear screen. Alright, let's get rid of that. Alright. So, what have we done in this video? We've created an update. First we did was create some variables. We got pressed and inside. So pressed is when we hit the button. Inside is when our mouse is sitting over the square that we created for the button. Our if statement says if the mouse is within the X positions, so each side, the left hand and the right hand side of the button, then we're inside the button, and our Y positions are inside the top and the bottom of our square or our button. Then if all that is true, we're inside the button. If one of those is not true, we're outside the button. This is saying if we're inside the button, if that variable is true, then we press a mouse button, the button's been pressed. If not, the button has not been pressed. That is our update. We're checking to see if things are happening. The inputs are happening. Our render has now got an if statement saying if we're inside the button, I'm going to make it white. Otherwise, we're going to make it the color it was. So that's our color change to say that we're over the button. You're able to click it. Now, over here in our main, we added in our updates so we could check to see if we're inside a button and if we're pressing on a button. And then we created a couple of if statements to say if we do press this particular button, this color change button, then if it's true, we're going to create this ellipse. For our menu, we did the same thing. We did an update so we know if we clicked on it or we're inside it. And then if we did press the button, then it creates this triangle. And our program looks as such. We got our two buttons. I roll over it, goes white. I go outside of it, it goes back to its original color. Same works with the menu button. If I click on it, it creates a green circle. If I hold it, creates it. As soon as I take my mouse button off, doesn't matter which one I hit, it will work. I've got other mouse buttons that I can press and work with all those as well, although it nearly chucked me off the page. And then we got our menu button, the same thing. We click on it, we get a triangle. We hold the mouse down, we get a triangle. If we don't hold the mouse down, we get nothing. And we can use our different mouse buttons. Save your work. Make sure you have saved your work. So that's all for this video. So we've got all the functionality for our button. We know how to create buttons. If you wanted to create another button, go ahead. You will need a variable. You will need to define it inside your setup. You'll need to set the render, the update, and then you can use an if statement to make it do something. So you can have anything you like in here. Maybe it shows up a smiley face that you can get it to draw to the screen whenever you press that button. But that's all for this tutorial.